Well, hello everyone, once more, and welcome to our Ignite Showcases. My name is Ilva, and together with Neo, Gustavo, and Xuanming, we are the co-founders of Ignite. Ignite, as a company, as a bunch of friends, we are an international network of event professionals who wants to make a difference in this event world. We provide specialized consultancy services in combination with active and integrated support of project delivery. A few months ago, we started the Ignite Showcases and Conversation series. The main objective of this series is to introduce and showcase event professionals, our Igniters, from our Ignite network to the general public, not only to inspire others to consider a career in the events, but also to provide more details on what actually happens behind the scenes of an event and how the person has achieved and where he is now. Whenever you have a question, please feel free to write in the comment box and say hello as well. And I hope we will have a really fruitful chat. To introduce our guest today, I and Raivis, for the first time we met in Sochi 2014 organizing committee. While working in the event industry myself, I have had only few colleagues that are as well from Latvia. It's not a really big surprise, as we are not a really big nation. But I'm very honored to be working with few of them. And today, our chat will be with a fellow Latvian who has gained a lot of experience in many international events. Raivis is from Latvia, and he has not only been involved in major sporting events like Vancouver 2010, London 2012, Sochi 2014, Olympic and Paralympic Games, but has also worked as traffic analyst for events in Los Angeles and transit and paratransit advisor for the Province of Quebec. So you see, he has been working in many events. Both Raivis and his wife, you can see in the photo as well, they had amazing wedding in Bora-Bora. You can see amazing photo there. They both love traveling. And in between the projects, they always try to make a trip to a country which they have not visited. Raivis is a big fan of photography, so he always has amazing photos in his social media. Raivis is now back in Latvia and is the head of operations for the FIA World Rallycross Championships. And he has just finished his mission with the Supreme Committee for Delivery and Legacy for the Qatar 2022 FIFA World Cup. Raivis' expertise is in transport, and he has been working in this area for the past 14 years already. I think that's a long time. So let's welcome Raivis in.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Ilva. Thank you for having me here today. I'm very honored to be on this call, and I'm looking forward speaking with you today.
Yes, and welcome, and thank you for coming and agreeing to be part of our Ignite Showcases. It's actually quite funny for me just to talk to you in English, as we are both from Latvia. But tell me, how are you today, and where are you now?
I'm currently working for FIA World Rallycross Championship. I'm in organizer's office in Riga. So there might be some people coming in and going out, and probably you'll hear some background noises since other people are busy working, pulling together European Rally Championships, which will take place in less than 2 weeks from now, and World Rallycross Championship that will take place in September. So it's pretty busy in the office. A lot of people coming in, going out, bringing stuff in, taking some stuff, and having meetings on this stuff. So yeah, you may hear some background noises or see some people in the background probably at some point. My apologies for that.
I think it will be fine, and because we are very pleased that you have found time in this busy preparation period to tell your story and to have a chat with us. So, with my first question is actually because you have such an amazing experience in so many events. How did you actually start it? You know, we are from from Europe, from a not too big nation. How did you actually got to be part of international business?
It's like a lot of other things in my life. Things that happen by accident and unplanned. In university, I studied environmental science. However, I haven't worked as environmentalist at all. I've done project management, logistics, some transportation, sales, different stuff. Um, I owned snowboarding and skateboarding distribution company in Baltics after I graduated from university. I sold my company. That was about 15 years ago. And with a few of my friends, we went to Los Angeles. And then by accident, not by accident, but I was offered a job as a traffic analyst to prepare maps for different road closures, some special events like filmings, Oscar ceremonies, X Games. So that was basically my first event experience. If yeah, that was, and that's how it started. At that point, that was not particularly event experience. Yeah, and I didn't consider that job as event job because I was preparing maps and I was working for traffic management company at the time. Yeah, I spent some time there. Worked first few events, which was not really event job. I didn't even have accreditation because I was just preparing some maps and drawings for it. Yeah, some filmings, Oscar ceremonies, X Games in LA. Then after a certain period of time, I went back to Latvia and again worked on different things, but my jobs were not related to events. Then financial crisis 2008 2009 hit Latvia pretty hard, and I decided once again to go abroad. This time, I decided to go to Canada, to Vancouver, and it was not decision was not related to Olympics, and I was not aiming to get a job with Olympics or anything. I'm not sure. Probably I didn't even know Olympics are going to Vancouver at the time when I was planning to go to Canada. Um, I was in Vancouver, and at the time I applied for the role, for the Olympic role, to as I think it was some bus scheduling role or something that I applied for. But during the interview, they offered me a different position to run one of their bus systems. And yeah, that was my first mega event, I would call, experience. I worked Olympic Games, Paralympic Games, then did some traveling. My wife worked event as well, so we both went traveling together. After we came back, we received offer from the same company to go to Toronto and oversee bus scheduling for G8 and G20 summit in Toronto. That was as well short-term assignment, with another event job. But at that stage, I still didn't consider myself event person, and then that I should be looking for jobs, particularly in event industry. I guess I still didn't understand probably the scale of the industry, and then how you find jobs in the industry, or that it's yeah the magnitude actually of the industry. After that Toronto job, we went to Arctic Canada. I was employed by Transportation Ministry of Province of Quebec as transit and paratransit advisor as they were implementing public bus services in 14 Arctic communities. So spent winter in Arctic. After that, returned home and applied for London 2012 job. So basically at that stage, I started actually considering doing career in events. And I already had few events under my belly, but then it's like, since that moment, I was particularly looking for event jobs and started considering my career as in event industry. Since, yeah, and then was London, short assignment in Doha with United Nations, Sochi, Azerbaijan European Games, then started a little bit in different event field. I worked for a company I'm working now, and that was a rallycross event. I was able to be based at home and still work on events. And after a year with that project, I got offered to join Supreme Committee for Delivery and Legacy to work for Qatar 2022. But I still kept as a consultant, I remained working with FIA World Rallycross Championship. And currently, since I have left Qatar 2022, I'm on full time again on the rallycross project.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you have had so many, I think, different events and different experience. And I think it's interesting to hear that you in the beginning, you didn't see how big is the industry, and you never thought, okay, I want to work in Olympics. We have met many people and have heard stories that people are so determined to work in event industry, and then they cannot get in. But actually, you started from a different side and got involved. But you wouldn't be able to do this without the support of your family, and especially, I think, without the support of your wife, Irina. She has been traveling with you as well, and has been, I think, the biggest fan of you and supporting. Can you tell like how did you meet your wife, and how did you how you have developed this not family concept, I would say, but that she's there and she's supporting you?
Well, we met nearly 20 years ago when I was going on working. Now it was Camp America program to go to US. That was 2001. Yeah, 2001. She was working for the company that sends people, youth, basically, either on Camp America program or different other programs, or working holiday visas for different countries. That was, I don't know, student agency, recruitment company, something like that. So that's where I met. She basically sent me to US when I was in early 20s for the first time. But then we started dating about a month before I had to go. Obviously, that was not easy, but we managed and we remained together, even taking into consideration that I was in US for a certain amount of time, and and then, as I mentioned before, I sold my skateboarding, snowboarding company, and I went to United States again. She remained home. She was still in university, and first time she went abroad with me, not to travel, but to actually live for a while and to move abroad. That was Canada. And and she even worked together with me on Vancouver Olympics project. We worked together at Toronto G8G20 Summit. Together we went to Arctic Canada, and she had different job. We didn't work together since that was not event job or something, as usually couples that are from event industry, they travel together and work for the same event. Not necessarily for the same company, but for the same event. Since that was not event job, she she worked for one of the local communities, and but we still lived together in Arctic. And then after came we returned home, and then came London 2012 offer. But after her Canada experience, she didn't really want to travel or go anywhere abroad. So, and since the travel between London and Riga, it's not very far. It's not very expensive. It's pretty convenient. There are several flights a day. There were several flights a day at the time, and we decided to do basically long distance relations for a year. And she remained back home in Riga, and I moved to London. And we frequently traveled between Riga and London. But then after London, we decided that that's not how the couple should maintain their relationship. For short-term gigs, it's okay, but for longer contracts, we want to travel together. And at the time, she had a job in PR agency in Riga, public relations. But then after that, she gave up her career to follow my path and to travel with me when I go abroad for different gigs. So the next big project for me was Sochi 2014. We were not married at the time. We were engaged, but not married. And in Russia, there's no such a thing as common law marriage. And that was very difficult for us because I could get my work permit, but she couldn't get her permanent residence status, or whatever it's called. She basically were able to join me only for 3 months every 6 months in Russia, and then she had to leave again. We somehow managed our relationship during that period, but we decided that after that event, we need to get married, because otherwise it's not gonna work for different reasons, because different countries have different rules. And we got engaged 2010 while we were in Arctic Canada. Basically 2000, we had selected, my wife really wanted to get married in a special place on Bora-Bora Island. So 2011 didn't work, and okay, I'll take a step back. And we wanted to get married on particular time of the year, and that was August, because you have most sunny days in that region in the August. So it had to be August because we wanted nice pictures on a sunny day on the beach, and that was allotment wedding. Even our parents didn't know we were getting married, so we told them we are going to US for the traveling, but we actually went to Bora-Bora and got married, and then sent everyone card next day with photo and wedding photo. But 2011 didn't work out because it was too close to when we got engaged, and we just didn't have enough time for all the wedding arrangements. Then 2012, I was busy working Olympic and Paralympic Games in London, so obviously that couldn't happen. 2013, I was employed by Sochi 2014 organizing committee, and since I joined the organization in March or April the same year, I couldn't take any annual leave for first 6 months. I can't remember the reason, but it was whether 6-month probation period or something. And I was not allowed to take any annual leave first 6 months. So that didn't work out again, and then that was the sort of turning point that we decided no matter what happens, no matter what contracts come my direction, we need to get married so we can uh, travel together going forward. And then it was August 2014, and yeah, we made it to Bora-Bora. We didn't tell anyone. Only my wife's best friend knew because we had special cards prepared, and the one wedding photo went into the card, and that was sent to all most of our friends and family, and that was how they actually got to know that we got married.
Well,
Yeah, and since since then we've been together in Azerbaijan. Um, my wife works as well events. I was doing transportation for organizing committee. She worked for a company that delivered opening and closing ceremonies for European Games. Yeah, she got pregnant during the our time in Azerbaijan, and then yeah, after event we returned home and we had baby, our beautiful daughter Mia. She's 4 now. We were able to deliver her here in Latvia and then spend her first year here, and then we moved to Qatar together as a family,
mm-hmm.
and now we are back home as well together as a family.
Mm. Well, it's I think when we spoke yesterday as well, I said that for a woman to, it's always a choice sometimes to give up the career, but to support the husband and to be the biggest support for the family, and really all the respect to your wife, and I think she's doing really, I mean, a good job with that. And you said that now with Mia being 4 years old, I mean, she will in few years she'll have to start to go to school. And how do you see the future? Like, do you want to continue in the event industry, and how do you see how can you combine it with the family, and especially when thinking about your daughter?
Yeah, without wife being supportive, I wouldn't be able to pull this pull this off. It just wouldn't work. If she, because she had actually very good career in advertising and PR field, but yeah, she just gave it up to travel with me and to be with me. And I know in the industry there are a lot of couples that have met uh, during events or working for different event organizations, but that's not our case. She obviously have worked some events like Vancouver. We worked together, Toronto, Azerbaijan, European Games, but that's not really her cup of tea event as well. And yeah, so I really appreciate her supporting me on going on these international ventures and working international events in different countries. Speaking about Mia, my wife has put a lot of effort into homeschooling, so she's been homeschooled until now. Uh, back home in Latvia, um, back home in Latvia, uh, kids start to go to school either at 6 or 7, but that's relatively late if you compare to other countries.
Hmm.
For example, in Doha, kids go to school at 3, so that's really early. We were homeschooling our daughter, and my wife is still homeschooling our daughter um, from home, and and as long as we send her to school in Latvia, it we are still okay for next 2 or 3 years potentially. But then she would have to go to start to go to regular school. So yeah, currently we are considering different activities for her, and that's what we did in Doha as well. We sent her to different classes: ballet, arts and crafts, singing and dancing, and so we are looking for different activities for her so she can integrate with other kids and have that communication sort of skills developed. But yeah, she's been homeschooled, and we are okay for next few years. But then, yeah, then we'll need to send her to proper school, and that may somehow complicate my career. But we'll see. I think we can overcome the obstacles.
Hmm. And I think it's just that you should take step by step, and because you never know, like now pandemics happen, you never know what will happen next and what offers you will have, and then I'm sure you both will find a way, the best way for you to continue your career and for your wife to support and for me to have the best circumstances around. And it's such a blessing to have such a supporting family and that you can travel together. But let me ask, your expertise is in transport. So what do you find most interesting about transport operations?
There's not much interesting about transportation. I'll be honest with everyone. There's not much interesting about transportation. Um, it's not difficult, but it is very difficult at the same time because there are. It's usually one of the biggest functions of event. It's very complex. Every day is different, especially for events. Um, Sometimes you get a lot of people you have to work with that haven't done that before, and it's a huge teams that you have to manage during it. If you ask me about transportation function in general, then there's not much. I would put it that way. Transportation is one of the least appreciated functions to work for. No one, when you do job well, no one will notice that because everyone will take good transportation service as granted, or not everyone, but majority of people. No one will really notice that, oh, that was a really good service, because people are used to good service. And but when something goes wrong, you will be on the first page of the newspaper. Oh, buses from ceremonies were like 2 hours late, or bus from airport got lost with I don't know, athletes on the bus. It all will go on the newspaper on the front page. So yeah, no, if something goes wrong, then you'll be popular, but that will not be positive information about you. That will be negative information about you or your function or whatever. If things go good and according to plan, it goes unnoticed, and no one or very few people will tell thank you. But yeah, it's very complex. That it's not rocket science. It's a lot of common sense, and it's a lot of integration between operators, other functions with clients, uh, different suppliers. It's big, it's complex, but uh, yeah, you just need to use common sense, and you can pull that off. That's in few sentences transportation.
And do you plan to continue to be to work in transport area?
I have broadened my uh, not focus or specialty, but I started and yeah, I started with transportation, and I've been for majority of events I worked in the as part of transporting, but transport team usually consists of different smaller teams, which is like bus systems, bus operations, fleet systems, which is car fleet, venue transport. That team is responsible for all transport operations on the venues. Then there's traffic management, and then central team within transport function that coordinates workforce, command and control, all the all those bits, which is logistics for entire function. So that's basically transportation central team. Yeah, I've done for a few events. I've done systems. I've done venue transportation, but then for European Games, I moved into C4 coordination, command, control, and coordination sort of area, and that involves a lot of that central coordination and communication with, and that's internal within the transportation and external with other functions and main operations center and all the escalation and all the radio communication, how you put it together, because it's a huge network, it's a big team, and how all that happens during the event. Then the rallycross event that I started about 5 years ago now, yeah, I was hired to be head of operations, and I basically overlooked all the functions that work outside, everything outside the sporting part that happened within the circuit, but everything around, including like logistics, event services, transportation, hospitality. I looked after all of those functions and coordinated that. My role with Qatar 22 was testing and readiness for transportation, but that as well involved a lot of central management, C4 planning, integration with other functions, integration with, since Supreme Committee is looking after host country operations, there's still local organizing committee that look after FIFA constituent groups. So that involved a lot of integration with LOC and FIFA as well. So that's not entirely. So I'm slightly moving away from those core transportation goals. I would put it that way.
And I think it's great to step out of your comfort zone or the knowledge you know, and but to expand and have a wider overview of different things. And what has been your favorite project so far, or event?
It's different to tell. Every event has ups and downs and pros and cons, and some. And I guess it's, for the most part, it's people who make these events special. In my heart, special place is for a local event that I'm working here in Latvia. It's rallycross event. It's great to work for world-class event back home with yeah, when your friends can come and family, and it's very different because, and I assume it's different for people, let's say, who are English and they work for London 2012, because those were home Olympics for them. And I'm sure they had different feelings than I had at the time, because that's their home Olympics. So that's why rallycross event has a special place in my heart. If I look internationally, then probably London 2012 was my favorite event. And that's mostly because of social relationship outside the office, the business culture as well. So those are two main things I think that made it unforgettable experience in a positive way for me. I would say rallycross and London 2012 for me so far.
I think it's very special that you have an opportunity to be back home and to contribute with your knowledge that you gain some in other countries, other events, and now being back home, you can contribute in a big international event. I think in Latvia we are very proud that already for fifth year, if I'm correct, that we will have the World Rallycross Championships. It brings a lot of people, and it's a big event.
Very disappointing about Stockholm 2026. That would have been a great project and great experience to work for Olympics on home soil. But it is what it is. It is Milano Cortina. Good luck for them. Unfortunately, not for us, but it is what it is. That's life.
I know. It was very, very disappointing. But so about your traveling a bit, so do you know how many countries have you visited, have you been in, and which countries next on your list?
No, I haven't counted. I would say it's around 50, 60 countries that we have visited. And we mostly travel together with my wife and now with our daughter as well. Yeah, I would say it's probably closer to 60 countries at a time. Unfortunately, haven't been to South America yet, but that one is to come. Antarctica is on the list as well. But yeah, our daughter needs to grow up a little bit so before we go there. Currently, COVID situation changed some of our plans that we had already in place for the traveling. I had a plan to visit Tokyo this spring. That didn't happen. I had a boys trip in the diary for October this year to go to West Coast US with my friends. So that's canceled as well. 2 weeks ago, spontaneous trip. All right, I'll take a little step back. I left Qatar mid-May, did my quarantine, arriving to Latvia, and then in June, since I was unemployed at the time, I thought, okay, I need to finally use this time to have a good use, because normally I had a month, probably after 6 weeks, annual leave every year, and then I was still working rallycross event, and that was 2 weeks of my vacation every year, and the rest of the leave time we spent traveling. So and then finally I had that after 3.5 years in Qatar, I had that time. Okay, I can now use time to travel, but with the COVID, there are not too many options. So looked at the map. I said, "Oh, Norway looks pretty good. I could go north." Because after 3.5 years in desert in heat, temperatures up to plus 50 Celsius, and you just want something cold. I love rain. I love mist. I love seasons. I want bad weather. So it was okay, Norway. Then I checked COVID situation, and they announced this. On the 10th of July, they will announce. They will update the list which country residents can visit Norway without quarantine. And on 10th of July, I think they announced that Latvia is one of them. And I was like, okay, that's it. I'm going to Norway. Made a few phone calls to my friends. You keen? Some friends were keen, some were not as much. So, and then 3 of us, we traveled to north, to Lofoten Island, Tromsø in Norway. Traveled north, returned last week, spectacular trip north, and it was very spontaneous. Unfortunately, this one was without family, because that involved a lot of driving and everything, the COVID situation and everything. The decision was made to go on the trip with the boys, not with the family this time. But not sure about future too much. Obviously, there are a list of the trips that I would love to do in the future, but then due to the COVID situation, not sure when I'll be able to do. When we will, as a family, will be able to do more traveling. But after European Rally Championships and World Rallycross Championship, looking forward to go somewhere again. But I'm sure that will be spontaneous trip, because we have to keep in mind the COVID situation. So yeah.
True. And we have some questions as well from the people who are watching. So we have a question from our co-founder of Ignite, Neo, and she's asking, why Bora-Bora and not any other islands for your wedding?
Then I have a question for her. Have you seen photos of Bora-Bora?
We saw your wedding photos. They were amazing.
There is no better beach destination in the world than Bora-Bora. That's the answer.
Very good answer.
But there's no better beach destination than Bora. And we have tried. We have been to many beach locations. We have been to Maldives. We've been to Seychelles, Mauritius, Thailand, Bali. For us, it depends, like what people are looking for. But for us, there is no better destination than Bora-Bora. And it was not easy to pull off and manage. At the time I was in Azerbaijan, it took 7 flights and a boat ride for me to get to Bora-Bora.
Wow.
It was a little easier for my life because it was only 5 flights for her. But then she had that huge wedding dress that she had to get on the flights, and I said, like, you're out of your mind. Like, they're never gonna let you to take that dress into the plane. She pulled it off. When we landed there, she cried because, yeah, she finally made there. That was a long time dream for her to get married there. And that's why we postponed wedding for a few years due to my jobs, and yeah.
Yeah, it actually shows how if you work in event industry, how it influences your plans, and you kind of just like, okay, I want to do next year this. Sometimes you never know will it work out or not. We have another question from Ling Neoquay. She's asking, maybe does your wife follow some programs when homeschooling Mia?
She's in touch with okay. All right. I'll take a step back, and my wife is she's into yoga, she's in meditation, she's in Ayurveda, and she likes idea about homeschooling and that sort of stuff. They both, my wife and daughter, they both are vegans, so it's probably a bit different from majority of the people. And my wife has some friends here in Latvia that does homeschooling for their kids, and she's in touch with them, and we have been discussing the idea. We haven't made decisions, but what I can tell for now, my wife reads a lot to our daughter. She started speaking very early. She has very bright mind. She's smart. If I compare to other kids, she has very good manners, and she loves books. Like other kids, they take a tablet or watch cartoons. She really loves reading books. I'm amazed how smart she is for 4-year-old. If she'd be in some school at this time, she wouldn't be there because it's more games and fun and running around. But yeah, I'm amazed what my wife have done with our daughter to educate her. So I'll suggest her to look up some programs. But she's been in touch with some people here in Latvia that does homeschooling with their kids.
So these were a few of the questions, and then we just have different hellos from our colleagues from Russia, from Glasgow. We have Raivis watching, our fellow Latvian who has been our colleague in different events as well.
I owe Raivis a call. I will call him after this call.
And yeah, and I think with this we can wrap it up. And thank you for sharing your story. I think it's from all the showcases that we have had, that this is first time when we have really like a story about the family that is traveling with you, supporting you, and yeah, and how this all has influenced and allowed you to continue your career in the events. And I'm really very happy that you are back in Latvia and you can contribute with your knowledge for a big international event in our country. So thank you for telling your story. And
thank you for having. Thank you for having me today. It was a good 46 minutes.
Yes,
I appreciate that. Yeah.
And I hope that those who were listening that this was something interesting for you and inspiring to see different career paths and a different story from our Igniter as well. This week we are having actually 2 showcases. This was the first one, and on Thursday, it's on 6th of August, we will have another one with our friend and our colleague, Anaëlle. She's from France, and we met her when working for the Youth Olympic Games in 2012 in Innsbruck. But after that, she has been similar to Raivis. She has been a real event gypsy, traveling and working for many events. And she has had many short-term events, longer-term events. And yeah, I think it will be very interesting to hear her story. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you once more, Raivis. And from our Ignite, I wish you a great week. Thank you, Raivis.
Thank you. Bye.
Ciao.